just begin testimony. Nemi Nomi.
No, I wasn't going to identify, but I'm in support.
Thank you.
All good reasons.
Lisa Derrick.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Derrick, and I'm here to provide a statement on behalf of the New York State Assembly member Rodney Bouchard, the New York State Chair of the Subcommittee on the Oversight of Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprises. And her statement follows. My name is Assembly member Rodney Bouchard, Chair of the Subcommittee on the Oversight of Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprises. And I would like to open by acknowledging the great progress being made with the New York City MWBE program. The purpose of the MWB program is to promote a more level playing field, giving more opportunities to minority and women-owned businesses to partake in city contracts. A successful MWBE program that offers and awards contract opportunity results in a more economically vibrant and diverse community where MWBEs are able to employ people from the established wealth within the community, as well as provide options to government agencies. We're here today to discuss changes to the Procurement Policy Board rules to bring it into alignment with the recent changes enacted by the state of New York to New York City Charter. I was very excited to have sponsored legislation A8407, chaptered into state law, that increases the discretionary threshold from $150,000 to $500,000. City agencies would have more flexibility to procure contracts of goods and services from MWBEs without entering into a formal competitive bidding process. Removing such a cumbersome process when dealing with smaller contracts gives agencies added flexibility to work with an increased amount of qualified MWBEs. Results from a similar change in 2017, where the threshold was increased from $20,000 to $150,000, proves this to be an effective method. The city yielded 840 contracts of over $61.3 million. This legislation also, I'm speaking on another point now from earlier, this legislation also allows price preference of 10% to be offered to MWBEs for awards based on best value. This process helps to benefit MWBEs, for example, when there is a challenge with equivalent access to capital, often leaving MWBEs at a disadvantage when competing for bids. From the progress that New York City has made with the MWBE program, we see what can be done when we remove barriers and give real opportunities to MWBEs. We develop economic inclusion, economic equity, and diversity. New York City should continue their quest to improve the MWBE program and change the trajectory of how contracts are awarded. I congratulate Mayor Bill de Blasio, Deputy Mayor Phil Thompson, Senior Advisor John L. Doris, and SBS Commissioner Greg Bishop on a job well done, and I look forward to continuing my work with them. I thank you for hearing my testimony and request that you approve the proposal before you today.
Thank you. Ravi Shenoy. Oh, thank you. Colleen Moulter. Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify on today's agenda?
So again, my name is Seth Bryant. I'm managing partner of Bryant Rufino LLP, a minority certified business in New York City. I'm also on the mayor's MWBE Advisory Council. I do a lot of work with MWBEs on both the state and the city level. And again, I think the proposal is an important one to harmonize what the state has done, as was just testified to by Lisa Derrick on behalf of Assembly Member Show. But this should harmonize the discretionary purchase thresholds between the city and the state for MWBEs. was stated, there was a change on the state level that went from 20,000, I think, to 150, and that was well absorbed. These discretionary purchase programs create additional opportunities for smaller businesses. It does cut across bureaucratic kind of nightmare that MWBEs and city agencies face when trying to let contracts for values that are meaningful to small businesses but are super consequential for New York City. It will create a pool of opportunities for smaller MWBE firms, those that haven't had a chance to participate fully in the city's economic prosperity over decades because of issues that we all well understand. So I'm strongly in support of increasing the discretionary threshold. I think it will be a very good benefit for MWBEs and the city's procurement policy overall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Julie Harris again. I just wanted to add one more point to my testimony based on something I heard. One of the things that I guess the gentleman from ACEC made a comment to reiterate that it's qualifications based and looking at the results of the projects made, decreasing some of the qualifications or the level of work provided to the project if MWBEs are given a chance to compete. And I just wanted to put that out there. I think that's just ridiculous. The young man who went before me made the comment that, you know, subcontracting does not work for us. Most of the firms that I work with in my coalition have worked for, they've worked for all the major companies. They've managed big multi-$100-million projects as they were employees. But as soon as they crossed the line and started their business, all of a sudden the same people are looking at them like they don't have the skills to do the work, though they got paid to do the work for folks. So I just wanted to make sure that that's one of the things that's on the table that's key and critical and important. I don't want it to be said or have that conversation that if they use MWBE somehow the quality goes down. The numbers state, especially for black engineering, architects and engineering firms, we don't get anywhere. We're terrible. And we need to make sure that we are able to bring up that next generation of black architects and engineers. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify today?
One more. I'd like to echo what the lady said earlier about being a sub-consultant and really being given not the best jobs. We've helped teams win jobs with very qualified people that we've had to keep on our payroll. And then upon being awarded the job, we get the lowest positions. This is completely unacceptable, and it's a big cost to us because we're trying to maintain a professional staff so that we can go and place them on jobs as a sub-consultant. And as soon as these jobs are won, the positions are taken away from us, but we're not told until it's time. So we're keeping people on the bench or charging less for them than we can, basically losing our profit in the hopes that this will materialize into something, and it just doesn't happen. So that's a big deal, that we're not getting the best work, and then when we do help a team win, we're left with the scraps again. That's not acceptable, I mean, it's just a tough way to do business. I've had 30 years in the business, I have a lot of experience, and a lot of people who come to work for me because of who I am and the relationship I've developed. I can't, if I'm being pushed at every corner, to not make money and to not be successful. Primes are not helping me be successful. They're not helping me with my 20% to be an active participant, performing commercially useful functions. So that to me is a big deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify today?
So I lied earlier when I said I didn't want to testify, but hearing all this, I want to take a minute. Peter Chenoweth, I'm a senior VP with a company called CMA. We're an IT consulting firm, and we are one of those evil companies that is larger than $10 million, but we are a New York State and New York City certified woman-owned business, and we strongly support this, and I'll tell you why. We have had the privilege of being both a prime and a sub for many firms, not only because we're a larger firm, so companies come to us and say, hey, we need your help, we think you can deliver for us, but we're also looking for smaller firms to help when we have to meet the MWBE regulations. Without boosting this to 500,000, or frankly more down the road, these companies can't grow, and we need them to grow. 150 a shot, I mean, that's kind of nothing. You really need bigger numbers so that they can grow, build critical mass, they can learn, they can create their own methodologies and their own approaches to things, so that when you're not just checking off a box, they're actually adding value to the project that you're on. So we strongly support this, both from a prime and from a WBE firm. So thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish? Thank you. Could you hand me your
Yes.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Higgins. I am the project director for the Minority Business Center and BDA operated by Sobro. And I just wanted to record my presence in the room and to echo my support for these proposals. I think it's a good step in the right direction. Congratulations.
Does anyone wish to testify?
Yes.
To write my name, right? To write my name.
Good afternoon, my name is Denise Alvarita, I'm with Procurement Technologies. I just wanted to testify that it's a great idea that the city is going to move from 150 to 500. Excuse me. However, you need to be aware that the CDW contract and the SHI contract is not helping the MWBE participation, and I feel that the city should put out an MWBE prime contract for a large MWBE to be able to help smaller MWBE rather. You are forcing a lot of MWBE to hold many insurances and policies that they cannot afford, that drives them to go out of business. They can't do payroll. They cannot meet many challenges that they have every day. I feel the city should recognize the MWBE community of all the struggle they go through, not just, I understand the increase and I appreciate it, but there's something else that you have to do as a city. I also would like to recognize that the MWBE community and the small businesses are the largest paying in tax dollar in New York City. A small business like CompuLink pays more than $1 million in taxes to the state, in the city. We should have a voice. We should be recognized as city business owners to help to develop opportunity for the city, not necessarily, cut our handles. And we feel that way. The mayor has awarded a contract that locks everybody out, and we have to be subjected to these large crimes. And I agree with it. Simple as that. And a lot of MWB doesn't agree with it. So unless you do something, you're going to drive businesses to move out of New York City. And it's really a fundamental problem for many small businesses, which is really the root of all our problems. And I'd like you to note that, because the city needs to understand that they're looking to increase it, but they don't realize that you've already given the majority of this business to other primes. So you have to open the doors differently, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to testify?
Just going to augment my testimony and give you guys real numbers. So in order for you to be a viable engineering firm, talk about staff, technical staff, plus I'm not going to know something probably about that operating cost just on payroll is approximated just over $650,000. We're not talking rent yet. Rent of a decent size, probably about 1,200 square foot, 2,000 square foot, at what? $4 a square foot per month. You get rent numbers. So taking a loan with that you can't service because you're getting scraps, and the city is vested in, they have all these charters and all these nice things that, they're for minority growth and for women growth and all these things. But I think what you're not seeing is cost implications, which actually causes a lot of the businesses who don't have the fortitude to, within 3 years they're out of it. You're talking costs that in between payroll and regular operating costs approximated, $800,000, $1 million a year, with salaries alone being $650,000. That's what we're dealing with. And then when we are at the mercies of a prime, we'll talk to the prime. On LaGuardia, we'll talk to the prime. Yeah, I'm still waiting. On Penn Station, yeah, we'll talk to the prime. Still waiting. Still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. What we're getting? Go inspect boilers and inspect steam traps. That's what we're getting. For people who design, 40-story buildings and all these things, we're getting steam trap tested. That's kind of where you're relegating the minority and women businesses to steam trap testing. After you spend so many years between, you invest so much time and money between college and time spent in industry for over 10 years, 15 years sometimes. All you know is steam trap testing. If you're serious, you got to look at the implications. Put a dot. What I do to make things make sense to me, I assign numbers. Maybe it's because I'm an engineer. I assign numbers, and when I look at the data and the empirics, it starts making loads of sense. $650,000 a year just for salaries, then another $4 per square foot for a 2,000 square foot. Do the math, you see why it makes sense to make this thing realistic. All right, thank you.
Does anyone else wish to testify?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Penda Aiken. I'm the owner of Penda Aiken Incorporated. I just got in town last night, so I didn't come today prepared with the written statement. I just started putting some notes on paper. So if I'm allowed to speak, I'd like to talk about why I am in favor of the proposals that have been mentioned today. My company, Penda Aiken Inc., I've been in business for 30 years. We've provided staff augmentation services, primarily to New York State agencies. And we have, as Prime, billed hundreds of millions of dollars in staffing contracts through the years. However, regarding New York City contracts, we've gotten less than 1%. And the only business opportunity that we did get through a city agency was New York City School Construction Authority. And that's because they use a lot of the New York State requirements in regards to the 30% goals. With the city, whenever we've had an opportunity to bid, and that's generally on the very large staffing contracts with the fire department or Department of Education, the law department, a lot of those bids are roughly between $30 and $50 million. We're either excluded, although we can certainly do the work, because of the lowest bid. And in many instances, those low bids are below 20%, which doesn't even cover one's cost to meet the cost of overhead. And then in instances where we have had the opportunity, it's either because we are a sub and those markups that's being presented to us are very low. So we still can't meet our basic cost of even breaking even. And what winds up happening is a lot of the smaller businesses that are startups, they agree to it and wind up losing money. The other part of it is the purchase orders. Previously, the purchase orders that we were receiving from some of the city agencies were in that $20,000 pocket. And when you're providing staff, you're reaching that $20,000 in no time. Subsequently, it becomes a matter of operating on no purchase order because the need still exists to provide the personnel to the city agencies. And we wind up getting in trouble because of the purchase order has expired, so either you don't get paid or it takes you an extremely long time to wait while the purchase orders are put in place. I think the raising the threshold to 500 million would certainly give companies like mine an opportunity to provide personnel for a period of time where they can complete the work. And so therefore, I'm very much in favor of the proposals that have been presented today. And I agree with what everyone else has said in regards to, as small businesses, MWBE firms specifically, we certainly have the capability, and the way a lot of the current proposals or RFPs are written, we're excluded because of certain qualifications that they put in that subsequently prevent us from even responding. And then the only opportunity subsequently becomes as a subcontractor, where those markups and costs are so high, we don't have an opportunity to really run a profitable business. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe you wish to speak.
Thanks. Thanks. Sarah with Arcade Software, and I just wanted to make one observation that the two gentlemen that were representing the larger firms were most intimidated by that 5% or the evaluation factor, because that would influence the evaluation factors, and that will really make a difference for us. And that's why I think they were calling that out the most. For example, when in the evaluation factors you see any percent assigned to the MWBE plan, that's when I can really actually get through to the contractors or the primes and say, okay, do you want to talk? Yes, we'll be on your plan, because we can help them get those 10 points. So actually see that as a good thing that they were calling that out. It actually makes me hopeful that if you do pass this, then it will make a difference. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify? Make a statement.
Just wanted to say, my name is Lisa Flores, Deputy Controller of Contracts and Procurement, and I am here with Sergio Paneke, and we are both representatives on behalf of Controller Scott Stringer on the PDB board. And I just want to speak for both of us and on behalf of the Controller that I really appreciate all of the individuals who have come out today to not only share their experiences and their feedback, whether they support or oppose, but really valuable information that we look forward to working closely with the administration on implementation of these changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify today? If no one else wishes to speak, that concludes today's hearing. We ask the reporter make any written submissions part of the final record of the proceeding. The hearing is now closed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.